It would be hard to sort of pick out one because there have been many changes. Before 2001, women had very limited mobility. Women did not go out without a man. Almost no girls' schools were functioning in most parts of Afghanistan. There was some level of professional women working, but most of them were working from outside Afghanistan or secretly, and only in the public health sector there were a slightly larger number of women, but for most things there were no women. There was absolutely no involvement of women in politics. Women were not counted as citizens or even as people for the most part. Today, women have more mobility. In the urban areas, in the urban parts of the country, women have a lot of freedoms. We go and we talk to the president when we have a problem with the way he says something or he does something. We interact with the parliament. There are so many more girls and women in educational institutions. I think women have life for women has changed a lot. The only thing is the magnitude of the change is not uniform. In some parts of Afghanistan, life has changed a lot. In some parts, it has changed less. And there are some parts in Afghanistan where life hasn't changed much at all. I think international aid has a very important role in two different ways. For one, international aid going into actually strengthening the roots of women's rights movements in Afghanistan would be an important thing for empowering individual women through providing opportunities for education, for capacity building, as well as for economic capability, economic participation. That would be a big boost for women. But apart from all these, let's say, services that can be potentially provided to women with the help of international aid, just the existence of international aid in a significant amount of international aid will guarantee or will ensure that the government knows there is somebody looking over its shoulder. That is basically, it's not just, the money is important because Afghanistan is very dependent so far on outside assistance, money-wise, but it's not just about the money. If the big countries who have been donors and partners in the past decade remain committed and remain involved, the grounds that we have covered can be maintained and can be improved or increased from where we are right now. So without that investment, with the armed forces leaving Afghanistan, it would give the wrong message to the rest of the world, as well as to the whichever government comes to power. When the stakes are so low from other countries, their word will not have that much of weight in the country. So the aid coming to the country is vital, and being of a certain quite substantial aid is necessary to keep the momentum in the women's rights movement, as well as to keep the government taking it serious, taking its commitment serious to the international community as well as to the national community. I think a lot. At least in the politics, I think a lot of importance is placed on women's rights. The elections, as I mentioned earlier in the hall, women's rights activists have been very proactive. in the approach to the elections, we met with all candidates individually, even the hardliners, listened to their plans and told them what we expected, and got them to sign a written list of our expectations, their commitment to a written list of our expectations. So we don't intend to file it away or put it away. We intend to keep it very visible to the media, to the politics, to the international community, and that is going to put immense pressure on the politics of whichever government comes into power. So we think it's going to have a very big role. The biggest threat, I am tempted to say the women themselves, but they're probably not the biggest threat. The biggest threat to women's rights in Afghanistan is this suspicion that the world is starting to give up on Afghanistan, or they're feeling as if it's a lost cause. This is primarily the reason why I have come on this trip. Afghanistan is not a lost cause. It is, if the international community takes out its military troops, that's acceptable. But if the international community looks away, turns its back on Afghanistan, that can let a lot of things slide back very seriously. And women groups and the common women of Afghanistan are very, very anxious that that should not happen, because we fought a very difficult fight to get where we are today, and we want to build on it. We don't want it to slip back even an inch.